You know, when you want to go somewhere to rough it out, you want grass and soil underneath your feet, mountains in your horizon, the scent of nature through your nostrils, but you still want hints of civilization where it counts. A cushioned bed, a dry floor, a working restroom with a bidet. That is definitely essential. In a way, that's what this place is like. You're surrounded by nature, you get the occasional praying mantis in your room, but you get a dry floor, a cushioned bed, and a shared restroom with a working bidet. In a way, this place is also like a parallel to the GS8 4-wheel drive and what it allows you to do. The GS8 4-wheel drive allows you to be intimate with nature. You can go to places that will leave other cars stranded. But when you've had your fill of nature and you want to retreat back into civilization, you can just go back into the air-conditioned cabin and bask in luxury. You don't get a bidet, but you get ventilated seats, covered in supple leather, tri-zone climate control, and the finest materials all around. It's also spacious enough to sleep in. This is the GAC GS8 all-wheel drive. Is it worth your money? Let's find out. Recently, we took the GAC GS8 to the twisty roads, muddy trails, and gorgeous landscapes of Tanay Rizal. Now, if you're not that updated when it comes to Chinese cars, the GS8 might surprise you in a number of ways. One, it looks and feels very premium. It has a very commanding presence to it due to its size and its stately proportions. One more thing that might surprise you is its price. It's not priced like other Chinese crossovers. This four-wheel drive model sells for 2.65 million pesos. That's premium crossover category, just a bit less than the Mazda CX60. Another thing that might surprise you is that despite that price, according to JC, it is selling pretty well. So the GS8 4-wheel drive and the GS8 2-wheel drive are identical on the outside, except that the 4-wheel drive gets a 4-wheel drive badge at the back. Now GAC's new design language is very angular, and you'll see that on the new GS8. You get a lot of sharp angles and sharp lines here at the front. Like you get these sharp creases on the hood. On the bumper, you have these sharp creases. All luxury barges need an imposing grille, and the GS8 delivers in that department. The front is about 70% grille. It gets chrome elements in a V-shaped configuration, and at the center you have the GAC logo. Flanking the grille on both sides are adaptive quad LED headlamps. Like other premium 3-row crossovers, like the Explorer and the Palisade, the proportions and styling of the GS8 put more emphasis on length and width than on height. It has a long hood and a long and low greenhouse. Its ground clearance is 200 millimeters, which is relatively low compared to 7-seater PPVs, but it's about the same as the Palisade and the Explorer. So this gets 20-inch wheels wrapped in 255 series tires. The brand is Maxxis. I'm not sure where that's from. I'm guessing China. This gets disc brakes on all 4 corners and fully independent suspension as well on all 4 corners. McPherson's at the front and a multi-link setup at the back. You get a power folding side mirror with repeaters, and you also have a camera here for your 360 camera system. It gets a smart locking system, so the vehicle automatically locks itself and unlocks itself depending on your proximity to the car. So if I get close to the car, it automatically unlocks.
And if I walk a couple of steps away from the car, it automatically locks itself. Now, if that feature annoys you like it annoys me, you can turn it off on the infotainment screen. You get a functional roof rail over here.
The GS8 gets dual exhausters. Both are real, and you can tell because you can clearly see the piping underneath. Also, not only are the exhaust tips angular, the mufflers also seem to have received the angular treatment. If that was intentional, that's attention to detail.
It gets a power liftgate as expected.
Now, GAC didn't release the trunk volume of the GS8, but with the third row up, you can fit 2 or 3 medium-sized luggage bags. All the seats fold flat for easier loading and unloading. The GS8 has more than enough cargo space to fit our sponsor for this video. Introducing the ATO Sport Mobility Scooter. The world's most innovative mobility scooter. It folds into a small suitcase size, and it has wheels so you can move it around like a trolley. It separates into 2 parts. It has leather seats and grips, an illuminated LCD dashboard, enhanced lighting for extra visibility. You can install optional armrests. It's perfect for seniors as it's easy to lift and unfolds in seconds. It has a maximum speed of 10 kph, shock absorbing flat free tires, high ground clearance, advanced braking system, be free to travel anywhere, land, sea or air. It has 20 kilometers of continuous driving range. Engineered with flair, designed with passion for performance. Be active, be free, be yourself. ATO Sport, moving life. On the inside, the GS8 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive also look identical, except that the 4-wheel drive gets an 8-speaker Alpine sound system, which sounds better than the 6-speaker sound system of the 2-wheel drive. The 4-wheel drive gets 6 drive modes: Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sand, Mud, and Snow. Now, there doesn't seem to be a way to manually shift to 2-wheel drive mode. Like the Subaru Evoltis, this might have a permanently engaged all-wheel drive drivetrain. Both the 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive come in this black interior color scheme, but there's also a cream color scheme, which I think looks a lot more luxurious, but is also a bit more difficult to maintain.
Almost everything is covered in high quality materials. Like this, the top of the dashboard is covered in leather. This right here is leather wrapped. This is leather wrapped over here. You got these faux aluminum accents. You got this faux wood panel over here on the center console. You have a very wide center armrest over here, which is covered in leather. And the seats are covered in quilted leather. They're power adjustable, they have adjustable lumbar support, and they're also heated and cooled. The steering wheel is covered in leather. You have buttons there for your adaptive cruise control, and also the various functions of your infotainment screen.
A vehicle at this price needs to have a certain level of eye candy, and the GS8 delivers on that department with customizable ambient lighting and a crystal shifter. Also at the center of the dashboard is a huge 14.6-inch screen. I mean, it looks good, the resolution's good, the color depth is good. I just wish that it had a wider aspect ratio for a more modern look, but this is not so bad. Like most Chinese cars, this does not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but you do get a phone mirroring app. A 360 camera comes as standard for both the 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive models. The resolution's good, the panning is smooth, and the large screen makes obstacles really easy to see.
Now, a lot of your controls are now on the screen. You don't get physical buttons for your climate control or for your seat ventilation. Everything is here, but everything is perpetually here. You don't have to go through different menus. Whichever screen you're at, you can always see the controls over here. So this has tri-zone climate control. You have 2 zones here at the front and 1 at the back. Your seat ventilation controls are over here. You can choose among 3 different levels. You also have a smart mode which automatically selects the cooling level. Your instrument cluster is fully digital. You got a wireless phone charger over here, and you have plenty of space here for other phones. A lot of your controls are over here. You got your push start button over here, your drive modes over here, your electronic parking brake without a hold. And yeah, in terms of storage, the glove box is decently sized. It's also dampened. You have dual cup holders over here which have these spring-loaded tabs. The center armrest opens at the center like a lot of previous generation BMWs, and the space is quite decent. And this gets a panoramic sunroof as expected. Okay, so here at the back seat I have plenty of space. Legroom is very generous. I have a lot of headroom over here. 3.5 to 4 inches. The flooring is completely flat, which is impressive considering that it's a 4-wheel drive vehicle. You get this digital screen over here for your aircon controls. Not only can you adjust the temperature, you can also adjust the fan speed here at the back. And you also get dual USB-A ports. Now to get to the third row, you just have to press this button over here. And the seat automatically moves forward, giving you more space to enter. Okay, so I mean it's not bad. The flooring is relatively high, but headroom is okay. I have about an inch of headroom. It's also quite wide over here, so you're not going to be rubbing elbows with your co-passenger, and that seat's also very wide. You have 2 cup holders over here, 2 on that side, USB ports or 12-volt outlets. You get aircon vents up here and also 1 over there. That is so convenient, isn't it?
Nothing gets you better acquainted with a car than a long road trip. We left early in the morning for Rizal. We were a convoy of 5 GS8s, a couple of MQs, a GN6, and a police escort. People around us must have thought that they were in the company of VIPs. A lot of drivers and riders visit Rizal for its twisty roads, but it also has plenty of tambay spots with scenic views. We had lunch, we had coffee, and then we spent the evening at a place called Cielo Alto. The next day, Kyle, Julian, Joey, and I took 2 GS8s to this remote, unpaved, muddy trail. Now, it was a bit unnerving driving such a wide SUV through this narrow, muddy path, but the GS8 had no problems navigating through it. Even on deep mud, the GS8 all-wheel drive never came close to getting stuck. It doesn't have a locking differential, but it has what GAC calls intelligent 4-wheel drive, which directs power towards the wheels that need it the most, and away from those that don't have traction. The front and rear power distribution can be close to 50-50, with the vehicle automatically shifting the power front and aft as needed. The GS8 handles pretty well for such a barge of a vehicle. It's based on a unibody chassis, which means lower center of gravity and less weight compared to similarly sized SUVs based on a ladder frame chassis like the Fortuner and the Terra. Its fully independent suspension is good at soaking road imperfections. It's a very comfortable vehicle to drive, but it still stays relatively flat in the corners, even when you're pushing it hard. The vehicle is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which puts out 248 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque. Now those are very good numbers for the price. And it puts the GS8 above all PPVs in terms of horsepower. Also, it has more power than the Palisade, but it's still behind the Explorer's 300 horsepower and 420 Nm of torque. The GS8 does not come with a DCT transmission like most Chinese crossovers. It comes with an 8-speed transmission which feels a lot smoother in stop-and-go traffic than most DCTs. Also, the transmission is made by Aisin, which also supplies transmissions for Toyota, BMW, among others. I had a very good time exploring Rizal with the GS8. It's a very comfortable cruiser, but also has quite a bit of grunt to it. I can nitpick on small things like the lack of physical controls for the aircon, or the lack of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But these are things that you can learn to live with if the rest of the car charms you enough. And there is plenty here to charm you. Its stately looks, its premium interior, its comfortable ride, its all-wheel drive system, its ample power. Its biggest hurdle, I would think, is its price. It's priced at 2.64 million pesos, which is just a bit less than the base model Mazda CX60. I haven't driven the CX60 yet, but it seems to be tough competition. Still, the fact that it's selling well is an unexpected achievement for GAC. They tapped a market that is currently untapped by other Chinese brands, and it shows that people would be willing to spend that much on a Chinese SUV if it's built right and spec'd right, like the GAC GS8.